Thank you, Jacques, and I'm glad to be part of this conversation with you.
Thank you.
First of all, congratulations for the 2023 results. It seems that your turnaround is completed and it's been successful, and you have paid dividend for the first time in 5 years. So can you elaborate on how you started with that turnaround and the journey that you embarked and the completion of it?
Well, thank you, Afsar. Yes, indeed, we have, I think we need to stay focused and be a bit humble about what we accomplished, but we went through a very difficult period from 2017 to 2021. A lot of it was due to the fact that sugar prices were extremely low, reaching in 2018 8,800 rupees per ton of sugar, which meant that we were exporting sugar to Europe. And at that time, European sugar producers were exporting on the world market. So there was a discount to the world market in Europe. So that really hurt us. But fortunately, things are now getting much better. So we had to go through these very difficult times. Then, obviously, there was the COVID period. We did take this time to refocus, rethink our model. And obviously, we had to by then go through a massive de-gearing exercise. So this is when we had meetings with the MIC, and we did a very, I would say, unique deal with MIC. So we didn't take any debts from MIC. So we sold assets to the MIC, which were strategic for them, mainly near the airport, where MIC was also involved in the whole restructuring of AHL. So this meant that we managed to go through a de-gearing, not only by the MIC transaction, but further than that. So we managed to reduce our debt by 6 billion rupees. And then obviously we had to take some more facilities because there were still some projects underway. So in the meantime, we bought Omnicane House. We also made an antioxidant factory. We then bought Omnicane Management and Consultancy. So that rose our debt to another billion. So the net effect was about 5 billion rupees. So that was quite an important part of the strategy. Then we also, with the board, we did take this time to elaborate the Omnicane 2.0 strategy, where a lot of emphasis has been put on our balance sheet to really restructure the business units. This is when we decided to have these two strategic business units with two CEOs to support these activities and really create autonomous business divisions. So we really sort of arranged our debts and all our commitments in the various companies that are themselves operating. So from a shareholder's point of view, it's also a de-risking exercise that we went through. But I mean, we're not there yet. So the road is still, there's still lots of challenges, and our ambition is to continue reducing our debts on this front.
I think what is interesting is normally we have done a lot of turnaround ourselves, but when you do turnarounds, you usually right size and downsize. But in your case, you carried on with new projects and you diversified. I think you should document it into a proper case study and let people go through it in a much more professional manner.
Thanks.
The second question I have, I think Jérôme mentioned a lot about this regional sugar hub. And it will be good if you could enlighten us. It's a challenge you took some years ago. Where are you in this particular journey?
I mean, I think this is the kind of ideas that pop up when you are in great difficulty. So during these difficult years, we also had to think about how we would optimize our factories, our refinery. And this is when we decided, because we had some spare capacity, to really launch the concept of the sugar hub. So that means importing sugar, adding value in Mauritius, and then re-exporting it. So the logic behind that is Mauritius being part of COMESA and also having some access to some preferential markets, we had to make sure that the rules of origin of our sugar were maintained. For example, in COMESA, if we have 35% value addition, it means that the sugar will have a COMESA origin. So in this precise case, what we do, we import sugar from Brazil. We will mix it a bit with local sugar, plus transform it so that we are entirely sure that this 35% value addition threshold is reached. And then this sugar will then have duty-free access in COMESA markets, where other imports are usually taxed, so we have a preferential margin. So that's the sort of logic of our sugar hub. The same goes for Europe. For Europe, we need 85% value addition. So it also means that we can import some sugar, mix it with the local sugar, refine it, and increase the volume of exports. To give you an idea of what this activity is all about, it concerns between 100 and 120,000 tons of sugar imported annually and re-exported. So that is, and I think it has been successful. Obviously, it's a business with very tight margins, but the nice thing about it is it's a kind of natural hedge as well for sugar prices. Because what is important for us in the sugar hub business is not the price of sugar itself, it's the differential between white sugar and raw sugar, what we call the white premium. So we can have times where sugar prices are low, but the white premium is high. So this also puts us in a different league. And to complete on that, we've had, for example, when we import raw sugar, we also have byproducts in the refinery, like molasses, which also help our ethanol and rum distillery to operate with more raw material.
That sounds like a very sweet activity.
As you say for yourself, it is a very, there is also a financial aspect to it where we need to do some trading, we need to hedge when you buy the raw sugar, you need to make sure that you crystallize your sales to secure the white premium, because there are risks involved in doing that. So what we have a risk policy that will ensure that once we buy the raw sugar, we make sure that we have enough premium to cover it so that the activity is profitable. So it has given us a lot of opportunities, and also I would say some kind of sophistication whereby we now a bit trading and hedging commodities.
Excellent. I don't know if you're aware, but these days when people talk about Omnicane, it's more about energy. And I think Omnicane is perceived to be a pioneer into the renewable energy space. And you yourself have been very forceful and advocating the biomass and all the renewable energy. So I think we're all waiting to hear from you on this aspect.
Thank you, Afsar. I think this is the gist of the matter. I mean, for us, energy transition is something we need absolutely to do and be successful at it. So what it's all about, it's obviously the government has now a clear policy of no to coal by 2030, which means that we will have to find a substitute to coal. So this is where biomass comes in. Now there's part of the local biomass, but that won't be enough. So the big challenge will be to source sustainable biomass, preferably in the region, so that this will lower our carbon footprint, and have it as the core fuel to run our power plants. So when we talk about the transition, we know that government has an objective to reach 60% renewable energy by 2030. By the projects we have will contribute to 25% of that if we do convert when we convert our power plants to biomass. And most important of all is the greenhouse gas reductions, the emissions. Government has committed to significant reduction of greenhouse gases in the COP27 and COP28. Our contribution to this reduction of greenhouse gases, we estimate, is about 720,000 tons of CO2 per year, which will account for more than 40% of government's commitments. So it's quite a significant, I would say, contribution that we will make. And last but not least, Afsar, why we're talking about biomass as renewable energy, we must understand that in terms of energy, you do have to consider the quality of energy that is on the network. So biomass and our power plants now are used as baseload, which means that this energy is the energy that will regulate the frequency on the network of the grid. So, for example, you can have alternative energies coming in. You've got solar panels. The sun is shining now. This will go in the grid, which means that we will regulate the frequency and reduce a bit our input in the grid. The same thing when the solar goes out, there is an energy that has to come in on the network so that it is compensated. So this is a bit the role of this energy. And this is where you cannot compare every kilowatt hour, because each kilowatt, the price of every kilowatt hour, because each kilowatt hour has, I'd say, a different flavor and a different role on the grid. For example, peak power, when there's the peak, the kilowatt hour will probably be more expensive. So an on-demand power obviously plays this role. So to have a system, a grid in Mauritius where we can ensure baseload with renewable energy, I think is a great chance for our country.
Well, it's clear to me that you have the right vision, you got the right strategy, you have the passion and the energy to drive it through. But do you feel you are supported by the regulatory framework that we have currently?
Afsar, I think there is a lot of progress that has been made. Obviously, when we talk about regulation, it always takes more time than we wish it would. But there has been a huge step forward with the biomass framework that is now enacted. And there's lots more to do. But I would say that the right framework is there. And I'm very confident that we will get the appropriate legislation for these to go ahead.
Okay. My next question is on your Africa strategy. Today you have a minority stake in a sugar company in Kenya called G.O.S.K, and you have a substantial investment in the hydro in Rwanda. So where is your Africa strategy going? Are we going to see more actions or consolidations? So what are you up to? Okay,
Afsar, if you permit me, before I answer this question, I would like to talk of something very important is to finish on the renewable energy. As you know, we have signed a collaboration agreement with the International Finance Corporation. This is a major milestone for us because in order to qualify with the IFC, first of all, you have to go through a very deep due diligence. So they've sort of audited us and we've been through. And then secondly, a very important aspect is IFC is the private arm of the World Bank. So their shareholder is the World Bank. So before they would engage in financing a project, they have to ensure that this project is a good project for, as for environmental reasons, but also for the country and the economy concerned. So presently, as soon as we did sign this collaboration agreement, they've started a study to really sort of benchmark all the alternatives that Mauritius has to honor its commitments for this 60% renewable energy and greenhouse gas emission reductions, what they have committed. So they are currently doing this study, and after that, obviously, their role is going to be pivotal because they are positioning themselves to finance the adaptation of our power plants to biomass. So there are considerable investments to be made there. So they will lead this consortium. As you know, IFC is one of the biggest DFIs, so they're already paying for the studies that are currently going on. And we are now very confident that as a strategy for the country, this is a very good way to go about for the energy transition. Réunion has done it, and they've been very successful at it. So operationally, we know that it's working, and it's working well. So Réunion now has almost got rid of 100% of its coal utilization just by the fact of substituting coal by biomass. Our advantage is that we have a very strong partnership with Albioma, the company who did it in Réunion, and there's no reason why we won't be able to do it. So technically, it works, and also financially, when we do the levelized cost of energy, we can see that for baseload energy, in terms of renewables, biomass is a great solution for the country.
Why did you choose IFC in the first place? Did you go to them or they came to you?
We had the World Bank has been making lots of studies for the sugar industry itself and how do we adapt the cane industry. So this is what led us to make contact with IFC.
And coming back to your Africa strategy now, so...
Sorry, I've been a bit long.
No, it's good. Where are you now with the Africa strategy?
Afsar, I think the Africa agenda is a fantastic opportunity for Mauritian companies. I would say that, unfortunately, we've paid very high school fees in Africa. We've done a sugar project in Kenya that has gone through quite some difficulties, and which we had to completely provide in our books. But I think we did learn a lot about Africa and how to operate in Africa. And then we've built a power plant in Rwanda. Very complicated project because in the middle of construction there was COVID, and the clock was ticking because we had signed a PPA where we needed to deliver on the grid at a precise point in time the electricity. So there was quite a lot of challenges, but eventually it has been successful, and we are now quite happy with our operational results there. So the next phase, obviously, when we look at our Omnicane 2.0 strategy, obviously we are very careful about our investments and our expansion, but we are being solicited for a few new projects in the electricity sector mainly. I'm also pleased to announce that we will move our regional office to Kigali by the end of the year. And from there, not only we've got power on the grid, but also this will be used as a base for some of the new products that we produce in Mauritius, our sugars, our antioxidants, our rum, to have some value transformation over there as well, and to go for this wider African market. I think COMESA and the African market is really booming, and Mauritian companies have a great role to play there.
Are you getting any help from IFC for your Africa strategy?
Definitely. I mean, some years ago, we had a very close collaboration with the EIB, and it has worked very well because once we did one project with them, we've had another 5 following up afterwards. Because once you go through the due deal of getting through the door, I think this opens up to plenty other possibilities. So now we are very focused on the energy transition. This is our main goal. We must stay focused on that. And then once this is successful, I have no doubt that they definitely probably be quite keen to accompany us further.
Great. In 2003, we go back to your share price. You were one of the most performing share on the stock exchange in 2023. It seems 2024, this is not the case. Currently, you are trading at a huge discount to your NAV. And I think anyone knows that Omnicane is worth much more than the current share price, given that you are 5 times below your NAV. What do you make of that valuation?
I mean, first of all, I think there are tremendous opportunities for all of you sitting here. Our net asset value is about 84 rupees per share. I am very confident that, considering the fact that we have, I would say, cleaned a lot our balance sheet, that we have robust, a very solid balance sheet now. Obviously, the 5 years that have been very difficult have been very tough for investors because we had to stop dividend payments, which we are now resuming. So I am very confident that the value we have on the balance sheet is fully there and obviously available. So, it's plenty of opportunities and lots of scope to come up.
And final question to you is, what keeps you awake at night? I'm not talking about nightmares, I'm talking about achieving your vision.
Well, Afsar, this is a very good question. What keeps me up at night? I guess it's the passion to grab this opportunity to really be able to raise to the challenge of taking our country to 60% renewable energy by 2030. Personally, I think this is an achievable goal. With the right framework in place, we are confident that as far as our share of it is concerned, we will be able to deliver in time and with the right type of technology. So I guess this is a fantastic opportunity for us and for the country.
That's great. I think I've reached the end of my question.